Well, you might think you only have two choices for president, but that's just simply not true. There are other people running. With us now is Christina Tobin. She is in charge of Free and Equal Elections, which is holding the fourth and final debate this month, October 23rd. This is the last one with these alternative candidates, the other choices you have. If you don't like Trump, you don't like Harris, there are other people you can vote for. Christina, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Kim, always a pleasure, and it's been great becoming a friend of yours outside of this show. I love what you stand for. People may not even believe in everything that you say, but I'm glad you're here and you're speaking your truth, just like these alternative candidates will be at our presidential debate October 23rd.
Well, thank you. I don't require anybody to agree with me on anything, but know that I am speaking from what I think, and I can change my mind. I can change my mind if you present enough evidence to me. And one of those things that I've changed my mind on is who I'm voting for. I was a big supporter. With this, it's so funny how an election cycle happens, and this is why I've already received my ballot here in California, but I'm not going to cast my ballot yet. I know a lot of people I'm seeing online, people saying, I already cast my ballot, I already voted, but I'm not going to vote yet because I still want to, for one, see this debate on October 23rd that you're hosting. Anything can change. I mean, I started off this election cycle thinking Donald Trump, I guess, I've never voted for him before, but I was thinking, I guess this time I'm voting for Trump because by just everything they've tried to go after him, they clearly don't want this guy in office. So, just almost as a protest vote against Democrats, and towards the anti-establishment position. Then I liked Kennedy. Kennedy came along, and I was like, oh, okay, well, here's another option. I like Kennedy a lot. And then Kennedy's stance on Gaza, Palestinians, and Israel, I just could not, after he was calling them pampered, the most pampered people, as their children are being blown up and shot in the head. Um, and then I've now moved on to Jill Stein, who I've always adored. I've always really liked Jill Stein. And so I'm back at which, she's a candidate I have voted for in the past. I'll be voting for Jill at this point. But I always say I reserve the right to change my mind. And, we're still a little under a month away from the election. Many of us might change our mind in the end. I could still be persuaded, I suppose. But that's the whole point, right? So who is in the debate October 23rd? Who's left to participate?
We've invited 7 candidates. 3 have confirmed, the third, fourth, and fifth largest political parties. So we have Chase Oliver of the Libertarian Party, Dr. Jill Stein of the Green Party, and also Randall Terry of the Constitution Party, and have great relations with the candidates and their national parties, probably for decades now. We also invited independent Dr. Cornel West and Claudia de la Cruz of the Socialism and Liberation Party. Mr. Trump and Harris are more than welcome to be a part of our debate, and we'll have the extra podiums waiting for them should they decide to be there. That is October 23rd in Los Angeles. It will be broadcast live on Scripps News, C-SPAN, Rumble, KPFK, and more. And we definitely, internationally, I think a lot of media is starting to pick up. We're still a couple weeks out almost from the debate, but we'll have those 3 candidates there, and hopefully even more for already and our final as well, 4th presidential debate, October 23rd in Los Angeles. It'll be a private venue. It is a dream come true venue. There are supporters out
Which
there.
venue is it?
It's actually going to be a private venue for security
Oh,
reasons with
okay.
a capacity of 200, but Lady Gaga was taping there with our executive producer a week ago for an entire week. So it is a 360 immersive venue, and the debate has now been expanded from 2 hours to 2.5 hours now.
Oh, wow. And so right now you have confirmed Jill Stein, Dr. Jill Stein, Randall Terry, you said,
Yes,
and Chase Oliver. So those are
correct.
the 3 confirmed. What about Claudia? Is she planning on showing up? I've had a difficult time even getting a hold of her to be on my show. I mean, I don't understand candidates that don't want to campaign. Cornel West, like, where did that guy go? He did a couple of interviews or a couple in the very beginning, and then he disappeared. Claudia de la Cruz, again, it's like, why don't you want to appear on the show and actually be interviewed? Why wouldn't you want to show up at a debate and actually participate? I mean, I don't understand this. Well, I'm running for president, but I'm gonna just not talk to people or disappear? I don't know. So anyway, is she going to be there? What's her deal?
Everyone has their different reasons. Talking to Santita Jackson, Reverend Jesse Jackson's daughter, she's going to be opening up the debate singing the national anthem October 23rd. She's reached out to Dr. Cornel West. I've been reaching out to Claudia, and maybe it's the difference between running an actual campaign and not. Sometimes there are campaigns that just have a lot more support than others. And thank you. I'm so glad no matter that Claudia and Dr. Cornel West are running, and I hope that they'll be there October 23rd. But I have experienced the same difficulties, so don't take it personally.
No, I,
Yeah.
I think they should take it personally, quite frankly. They're the ones who are alienating voters or not wanting to speak to them or making decisions on which shows they'll appear on or which ones they won't based on the viewership. I mean, that's just not the way to campaign. The way to campaign is to try to get everybody, no matter their political stance, because what we've seen in this country right now is people are swayable. I mean, you can change the minds of people. We've got a lot of people this election cycle suddenly voting for Donald Trump who had voted Democrat the previous, like their entire lives, and vice versa, right? We've seen like Dick Cheney come out, lifelong Republican, now saying he's going with Kamala Harris. So I mean, people can change. So candidates should be reaching out to everybody. I
Well,
particularly Claudia De La Cruz is,
if I may
yeah,
ask your supporters who are listening today, please kindly message Claudia and Cornell to be at this debate, because I have messaged them directly via text. I've spoken to them. I have their cells, and I've said I really do believe that not being at this debate is going to be the biggest regret of your entire campaign. To have C-SPAN and Rumble and Scripps News and more,
yeah.
KPFK, they'll actually be in studio ready to interview, and their Scripps News will be interviewing all the candidates. And I think we're going to have even more. I mean, we have a renowned PR firm and PR people reaching out to CNN and big media next week. So hopefully they'll still be there, and your viewers can kindly reach out to them and say, man, we really want to hear your voices. We want to hear more voices and choices. And I would love to have them there. I never give up. So we'll have a podium for them. Hopefully they'll be there.
Well, in particular, on my ballot that I did receive, Claudia De La Cruz is on that ballot. So it seems to me like she should want to be out there speaking. She's competing with Dr. Jill Stein. Chase Oliver's on the ballot. My ballot has Harris, Trump, Kennedy is on the ballot, even though he's telling everybody not to vote for him now. He's even saying even if you're in a safe state, vote for Donald Trump. He was saying at first, if you're in a safe state, then yeah, vote for me. I'll get that 5% and maybe start another party. But now he's saying, no, 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 just everybody vote for Donald Trump. Did you hear that? Have you heard that
I
update
mean,
from him?
that's whatever works for him. I'm glad he ran for office. I wanted to be his national ballot access coordinator, because when you're going up against the DNC, you have to be the best. And I'm the only one that has successfully gotten independent on the ballot. I did it for Ralph Nader in 2008 as his national ballot access coordinator. So he hired somebody in industry. I told him he's actually really one of the worst in the industry, which frankly made it easy for the DNC to knock Kennedy off the ballot. So no matter, I'm glad that he ran, and he decided to endorse Trump when he did. That's his own prerogative, but I definitely see even stronger independent candidates running for president in the future. I hope we have individuals like Representative Thomas Massey and many others that are recruited and asked to run for president as an independent in 2028. That may be the year for independence. It might be 2038. But hopefully 2026, we can really focus on the congressional races, because we got to replace this archaic system of Democrats and Republicans alike with a lot of
Mhm.
accountable individuals across the spectrum in 2026, and have those congressional candidates ready and prepared to back a truly pure, authentic, independent, ideally, candidate for president in 2028.
Yeah. If you're going to vote for Randall Terry or Cornel West, you'd have to write it in, at least in my state. I'm just looking at my ballot, and I've got Harris, Trump, Kennedy, Stein, Oliver, and De La Cruz. So Randall Terry and Cornel West would be write-ins, unfortunately, because of the ballot access issue. They weren't able to gain ballot. Now, with Cornel West, I just think he could have probably got the infrastructure around him. He probably could have. I mean, he originally was running with the Green Party, and then he, for whatever reason, had a parting of ways, and that's when Jill Stein jumped in. But I think he probably could have had the infrastructure around him. Very popular figure, has a good positive message. He probably could have done that and maybe gotten the ballot access. But again, he started running for president, then disappeared, and he's not on this ballot. I want to ask you about this. I'm gonna share this tweet thread, and I want to talk about this because this is where people are going to say, "All right, cool, yeah, we'll watch this last debate, but none of these candidates are going to win. So why even vote for them? It's a waste of a vote. Why should we vote for them?" I mean, this is what we hear about these candidates, and this is probably why Kennedy, when he was running and claiming that he was independent and for free and equal elections, kept declining your invitation to be at these debates. Would not face challengers like Dr. Jill Stein, who is a formidable woman with extremely intelligent, tons of knowledge, and he didn't want to face her about about the Palestine-Israel issue, right? Or any issue, it seems. But this was a thread that Mehdi Hassan and Jill Stein got into a little bit on X. It started off with Shama Sawant, who is apparently somebody involved in the Stein campaign, saying, we are not in a, she was speaking at an event, so she's kind of a surrogate for Stein, or maybe she's part of their campaign. But she says, we're not in a position to win the White House, but we do have a real opportunity to win something historic. We could deny Kamala Harris the state of Michigan, and the polls show that most likely Harris cannot win the election without Michigan. Then Mehdi Hassan tweets that out, her saying this, and him saying, when I interviewed Stein, she refused to concede this point that she can't win. So I'm glad her people are now being honest about their goal, stopping Harris, not Trump. I just wish they'd be honest about that. They're not anti-Harris and anti-Trump. They're anti-Harris. So he was just pointing out they're only running to thwart Kamala Harris. Dr. Jill Stein responded to that saying, people who are okay with genocide back Harris/Trump. People who oppose a system that sets up a false choice between red or blue genocide will vote green. If you're comfortable in the current system and you want everyone to vote blue no matter genocide, just be honest about that. Mehdi then says, if we're on the subject of honesty, why is it that your proxy in this clip admits you can't win the election, but you refuse to say that to me in our interview? And how does voting for you stop the genocide if you can't win? You still haven't explained it since I asked you on air. So, he's again, and this is the sentiment of, unfortunately, a lot of people. They believe that these third-party candidates, the candidates you're going to have on your debate on October 23rd, they believe that these are spoiler candidates, that that's all that they're good for. They're not real candidates. They're not serious contenders. What do you say to people when they say that?
The real spoilers are the Democrats and Republicans alike that have created that as an intentionally flawed system. The reason we have a spoiler effect is because we have singular vote, the worst voting method we could possibly have. Ranked choice voting, approval voting, score voting, star voting, any other voting process gets rid of the spoiler effect. So the person who said that to Jill Stein, that's unfortunate, disappointing to hear. I commend Jill Stein, Chase Oliver, Randall Terry, even Dr. Cornel West, Claudia de la Cruz, and some would say, Mr. Trump as well. I mean, he initially, when he ran for president, inquired my petitioning company to see what it would take to get on the ballot as an independent. That tells me from the very beginning he was an outsider that used the party line to get elected, and it worked one time. It didn't the second time. I'm not sure if it's going to work again. It's kind of like Ross Perot not getting into debates after one time, or anybody else for that matter. So great on Jill Stein for standing up for authenticity. And she and many others that I have mentioned, and beyond that, the Dr. Ron Paul movement, the Ralph Nader, the Anderson, the Ross Perot, even the Jesse Ventura, and so on, have paved the way for something far greater than any one individual. So this is a great time for practice for something bigger. And the campaigns that Chase and Jill and all these individuals have built, the experience around that is going to tap into truly a larger independent movement is what I foresee in the future. So good on Jill for running, and she should continue to run, as well as the candidates our debate. And that's why I've stuck in this arena for 25 years in the electoral arena, founding Free and Equal Elections in 2008. I've been in the ballot access world since 1998. I've stuck in this because I did not see anybody else creating a platform that would invite everyone across the political spectrum to be a part of it.
Which is so bizarre considering this country sits here and says, we protect democracy. And we even go and wage wars trying to bring Western democracy to foreign countries and promote Western democracy. And yet, what kind of democracy do we have when not all of the main presidential candidates are given free and equal amounts of time, advertising space, media attention, debate space, debate stage space? I mean, it's just so completely hypocritical. Yeah, the idea that people that these third party candidates are just spoilers is, yeah, this argument. People just keep making this argument, but it's no, they can win if enough people vote for them. That's how it works, right? I mean, it's not like they can't
Yes.
win. Of course they can win. They just need, you're saying, what Mehdi Hassan is saying, and people like him are saying that they don't have enough votes right now to win. Well, neither does either Trump or Harris. One of them will lose, right? So one of them doesn't have enough votes to win either. Does that mean they shouldn't run? I mean, the way it works is all of them can win if they get enough votes. That's the whole point of democracy. And so people should just look like this idea, well, if you give votes to Jill Stein, then you're taking them from Kamala Harris. I was never going to vote for Harris, ever in a million years. You couldn't pay me to vote for Kamala Harris or threaten me to vote for Kamala Harris. So my vote for Jill Stein has no bearing whatsoever on Harris. If anything, my vote is actually taken away from Trump, actually, in that situation. But they still will blame it. They'll blame, oh, voters who voted for Jill Stein made Harris lose the election, like as if it was just kind of idiotic thinking. And that's what's kept us in this duopoly this whole time, this sort of thinking of, I don't want to vote for a third party candidate because it's just a spoiler candidate.
Yeah, Kim,
Um,
the people who are not winning, really to dive deep here, are the people of Gaza, Israel, Lebanon, Ukraine, Russia. It almost brings tears to my eyes thinking about it, and that is a huge reason why I'm here today, because the powers that be, APAC, lobbyists, media, the corrupt music industry, Hollywood, gaming, can I go on and on and on? The electoral arena, Congress, have created a system that unfortunately benefits the military industrial complex. And with BlackRock buying up the property, and now 20% of Bitcoin is going to be a one world currency government. I don't know. I mean, let's put the ideas out there. You'll never hear me say conspiracy theorists in the sense of using that word, but I'll bring it up because it's I welcome people to have their ideas on our stage. All I ask at Free and Equal Elections through our debates and our United We Stand tour, which I can speak a little bit more about later, is coming from a nonviolent place, nonviolent action, just peace. You can talk about from aliens to weather to whatever it may be, because it's those ideas that are going to bring about the solutions. And
yeah.
so that is those are the real spoilers. The spoilers are the people in office that are creating intentionally a flawed electoral system so they can get reelected over and over again and fill their pocketbooks. And that's going to
Hmm.
end. That paradigm is dying off. Most members of Congress are 70 plus years old. They don't connect with the youth. And here at Free and Equal Elections, we're going to ignite a movement to inspire people not only to run for office, but to be asked to run for office by their community. And these are going to be the kind of candidates that are going to really inspire people to go out there and vote and be engaged in the voting process in the years and decades to come.
Okay, so October 23rd, what time does it start?
Yes, it is from 8 to 10:30 now. It was 2 hours. It has expanded to 2.5 hours. So the debate will be from 8 to 10:30 Eastern time. And Scripps News is going to be broadcasting. So we're going to have commercials with Scripps News. So during those commercials, we're going to have at least 7 different artists performing throughout the debate, whether it's a saxophone, the guitar of Jimi Hendrix in the Woodstock style. And really, those are going to be the segments that are going to be kicking off the 2025 United We Stand tour. But the debate will be October 23rd. I'm so excited you're going to be there in person. Thank you for coming, Kim, and supporting. And we will have a blockchain vote at the end of the debate, so people can go on our website, freeandequal.org, and vote via blockchain voting, ranked choice voting, that is, who their favorite candidate is. And there's a reason we implemented ranked choice voting into that, because you're not going to waste your vote. You can vote who you really believe in,
Yeah.
and it gets rid of the spoiler effect. So again, a bigger vision brewing here. So yeah, you can
Mm.
sign up for the live stream at freeandequal.org, and it's open source, and you can watch it on Rumble, Scripps News, C-SPAN, and at freeandequal.org, and hopefully more TV
Right.
networks in the coming weeks.
And then tell us about this 2025 United We Stand tour.
Yeah, it's dreams really do come true, and we're right there. The people supporting this debate are wrapped around the Ross Perot movement and philanthropists that just are not inspired, would be the nice way to say it, by the two-party system and two-party candidates. And so it's truly independent. And the United We Stand tour, it was actually inspired. The name, I mean, goes back from Ross Perot movement and so on. And Dr. Ron Paul saying, if we're ever going to bring about revolutionary changes, he said two things would need to be involved: the youth and music. And so the tour is going to include Imagine conscious artists and thought leaders and organizations and companies, and people running for office are going to be invited, especially people running for Congress. I hope all these candidates for president, 1,500 of them ran before the primary, decide to run for Congress. But there's going to be a lot of people in the communities right now that are very involved on a local level. That are going to be asked by the people to run. So you can go to freeandequal.org and be a part of the debate, be a part of the vote. The blockchain app will eventually list every single candidate running for office beyond the two-party system. It'll include alternative parties and independent candidates, because there are more independent candidates than there are Democrats and Republicans combined. And so we are paving the way for that beyond the insular right that's building through Trump and Kennedy and Gabbard. It's part of the process. I have great relations with the Trump campaign, with Bobby directly, Tulsi, and they're all welcome to be a part of this plan, because I'm not sure if the system's going to allow anybody to get elected except Harris this November. Time will tell.
I agree with you. I'm wondering how that's going to play out. There seems to be two power forces behind each of the candidates, and I'm curious how the struggle will play out. You know, how is it gonna pan out? We'll see. Christina, thank you so much for being here. Again, the debate is October 23rd. It is the fourth and final free and equal debate that is being put on, and then it's election time, right? Then it's voting time. Then we all have to start casting our votes. So, Christina, once again, we do have the link down below for where people can find out more information. Thank you so much for being on the show. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Kim, and I appreciate all the work that you do in helping us get this independent message out to the people. Thank you, Kim.
Oh, thank you. Of course. Well, everybody's talking about those weight loss injections because the results are so dramatic, and they work by lowering blood sugar and reducing appetite. But what if you need to lose weight, but you don't have the money for the weekly shots, or you just don't want to take weekly shots? Well, that's why doctors created a weight loss supplement called Lean, and the results are remarkable. The studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to lower your blood sugar, burn fat by converting it into energy, and curb your appetite and cravings so you're not as hungry. But listen, Lean is not for the casual dieter with just a few pounds to lose. The doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition created Lean for frustrated dieters with 10 or more pounds to lose. So let's get you started with 15% off and free rush shipping so you can add Lean to your healthy diet and exercise plan. Just visit takelean.com and enter Kim15 for your discount. That's promo code Kim15 at takelean.com. Thank you so much for watching. This was just a clip from the longer, larger show that you can catch Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. That'll route you to the platform where you need to be in order to get the full uncensored show every Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Click on that link, watch the full interview. See you there.